Shout out to Leones Comprehensive Secondary School. Morning.
Morning.
How are you doing? I will tell you the funeral today. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, Beaufort Comprehensive Secondary School, they retained the title as Island champions in the male division. I should say because St. Mary's College was defending, and they came back to win that title on the weekend. And of course, St. Joseph's Convent, 4 in a row Island champions. And then I want to say congratulations to them. Of note, they better be looking over their shoulder, because there are a couple of schools that are doing very, very, very well. Miku Secondary. As a matter of fact, in the first iteration of Island Champs, we had the joint sort of figures for male and female to actually decide on the Island Champs. And I was outvoted in the desire to keep it happening that way, because they felt that it would have unfairly disadvantaged some schools. But if we were to have done it that way, Beaufort Comprehensive would have amassed the most points again, collectively. That would have been followed by a sports academy. Actually did very, very, very well at this year's event. And Miku Secondary, people are sleeping on Miku Secondary. They've been doing very well in Island Champs. So congratulations to them. St. Joseph's Convent, St. Mary's College, they won last year. This year, it almost felt as if Beaufort went to bed the day after Island Champs last year, and they decided that there was no way that they were going to lose again. And you could see the organization of Beaufort. I continue to encourage this event to be a national event. If I have my way, we would have no other mass crowd event happening on the Sunday of Island Champs. I would want for all parents, all and sundry, to be there supporting the next generation. I continue to appeal to every secondary school on the island to develop an alumni association specific to sport. There are so many dynamics when it comes to sports development, transportation, coaching, mobilization in terms of funds, and really just investing in young people. And so we see Beaufort, we see a lot of past students as part and parcel of what happens with Beaufort, and it works. We have that with SMC on a level and St. Joseph's Convent, but we really want all schools buy into organizing your alumni association, start searching for sponsors, start doing what you need to do to organize for next year. Next year, we expect it to be even bigger. I want to say a special thank you to our sponsors, Acado, continue to sponsor our activities in terms of schools. And I want to say to the others, we'll single out KFC. KFC is always sponsoring Jade Mountain and Chasley, the huge Bank of St. Lucia. I would say to the others, we have 18 schools participating. We have more than 18 companies in this nation that would have, reserves, I dare say, or revenue in excess of $1 million from your activities. Adopt a school. Adopt a school. Here's your challenge. Adopt a school from today. Invest in their program. You can get your sponsorship back in terms of whatever uniforms that you buy. You can get your branding. And from now until next Island Champs, we can definitely mention to you through the media and all of St. Lucia that you are a sponsor of a secondary school. That is how we're going to continue to grow Island Champs. Now, there were certain things in social media land that a lot of the times you do not want to gravitate towards, but some people actually do. The decision to move Island Champs this year from Soufrière to the Darren Sammy National Stadium was not made solely by yours truly. It was a collective decision by all the stakeholders on the committee. And every single stakeholder believed that Island Champs outgrew Soufrière. And here are the numbers. Last year, by 3 o'clock, we had many individuals call in to say they had traveled from Castries, even from Ancillary, in some instances Dennery, only to get to the venue, and they could not have parked anywhere in Soufrière. That is a fact. This is not being emotional. That is a fact. We had to install bleachers in Soufrière, and we were called on several occasions on people that had fainted from the heat emanating from the track. We know the standard track and field area, there's no synthetic in the middle where the football area is. It's normally grass, which gives a little bit of cushioning in terms of the heat. But Soufrière is different in the fact that the football area was also turned into synthetic. So the amount of heat at Soufrière surpassed that of any other venue, and that is a fact. It was also a fact that in Soufrière we had instances, and I was called as minister, that because we were dealing with women as well, young girls, that some of them did not have areas of privacy to change comfortably. We know that these issues are existent in that area, and we want to address it. The fact remained that we could not have continued to have done it that way. Also, in terms of comfort of a warm-up area, we were not satisfied in terms of the amount of space there. And so the committee took that into consideration as well. There are many other reasons, many other reasons that we were given, and I as minister, along with the technical team, decided that the fact that government have already decided to commence the refurbishment of George Odlum Stadium the moment the patients are fully removed, that George Odlum Stadium will be where we host Island Champs comfortably. There's a warm-up area, there's a synthetic turf, there's adequate seating. We can have it on a Sunday and invite all of the nation. But until such time, we had to take a responsible decision to ensure that all and sundry were comfortable for Island Champs. And here are the numbers, preliminarily. Last year in Soufrière, we sold about 3,100 or so tickets. I'll provide that information later in terms of Island Champs. This year, preliminarily, the number is far exceeded 7,000 individuals coming to Island Champs. We had something that we're hoping to address, more students in the concession area than actually in the stands, and we had a lot of rotation. We had a lot of people, some came early and left, and some came a little bit later, stayed and left. But the preliminary numbers that I last checked was over, and it was very close to 8,000 people attending Island Champs. In terms of viewership, the numbers are there. More than 60,000 views so far, and we have it across multiple, that's just one platform I can speak to. We had it on Facebook, we had it on YouTube, Helen Television System covered it. And so you can see that at some point, if you put all the numbers together, over 100,000 views Island Champ. It meant that almost all of St. Lucia at some point tuned in to see what was happening with the next generation of athletes in this nation. I think this is the best way to go. I don't think Island Champs is perfect. I don't think that we can get perfect in 3 years and the 4th year. I think we should have ended a little earlier. I think we could put more in terms of the logistics for the athletes and the parents and the children. It is by far not a perfect event, but an event that will change forever track and field in this nation and the way we consume sports. So, all in all, I want to say congratulations to the principals, congratulations to the teachers, congratulations to the officials, congratulations to the Ministry of both Education and Youth Development and Sport for their tireless effort. Muelas, but you have to keep going. That's the nature of this job. But I think Island Champs 2026 was the best yet. Move on. Julian Alfred, she participated in the 60 meters at the World Indoor Championships held in Poland. As you would know, she finished 3rd. Not running a personal best time. For some reason, even through the heats, she seemed to have had a slower start than the others. Julian is noted for having one of the fastest starts in female track and field history, and so she's not hit that yet this year. I can say as a minister, I am not very concerned though. I'm not worried. You could see the top end speed in every event. If it was 100 meter, Julian was winning. You could see when she got in stride that nobody was moving at a faster rate. So I knowing Julian Alfred, she probably is still crying. Such is the nature of the lion inside of her who wants to win every single time. But that is just not possible in a 60 meter. That is a race that every single thing has to go your way at that level for you to win constantly. So I know for a fact Coach Flo will go back to the drawing board with her, do the necessary mental work, because the start is all about being mentally prepared for the gun. You have to balance ensuring that you go off when the gun goes and you're not disqualified, because unlike certain competitions, you don't get a second chance in a 100 meter. So congratulations to Julian Alfred as the 4th consecutive global event that St. Lucian is bringing home a medal. So I think we can all smile about that. Questions?
Good afternoon, Mr. Afternoon. So in light of Julian Alfred's, even though placing third in this year's championship, we have seen the level of athletics, especially in St. Lucia, growing to an all-time high. So we have newer individuals coming out, beating their personal bests, and a lot of new sports coming out. So with this new rise and in popularity of sports as well as athletics, could be anything, running, basketball, football, you name it. So what would be the ministry's next point of action, especially with this new highlight and raise within sports?
I think at the end of the day, there are certain things that must happen in sport in St. Lucia. We need to, and I guess some people feel away when I say those things, but you cannot be a responsible minister if you do not bring sport to the population center. We will complete George Odlum Stadium. We will ensure that that happens in the south. We will ensure that we commence work on the drag racing track in the Vieux Fort as well. And we have been having discussions about establishing aquatic sports in the south as well. But the majority of our sprinters, the majority of a lot of people that are consuming track and field, a lot of individuals have been asking and begging for a 400-meter track in the north of the island. And so for us to continue that work in track and field, it is very essential that we have a 400-meter track, standard Olympic track in the north of the island, in the south of the island, and the east coast and the west coast. We have on the west coast. We have in the south of the island. We do not have on the east coast and in the north of the island. And so the development plan would definitely be to establish these two, at least to have the track and a warm-up area, so you have this constant training in those areas. And I think that will take track and field and athletics to another level. We will continue to do all the infrastructure work on our multi-purpose playing fields. In terms of football and cricket, it's a challenge managing these two sports at venues like in Grosley, but we'll continue that. Court sport is something that we are going to be investing in the next coming years. Volleyball, basketball. By the way, congratulations to the St. Lucia Basketball Federation. They have a very, very competitive national basketball league ongoing right now. Soufrière, of course, are defending champions. They were defeated by Bonte, Grosley, in that opening match, but Bonte suffered a loss to that Castries team called the Mon last week. But very good competition ongoing. I've been showing my face at all sporting events as per usual, but I think they are making some great strides. Volleyball. We are in the process of completing the design for beach volleyball venues around the island. We're starting with the complex. If you look at the developed world, the third world people seem to believe that beach volleyball has to be played next to a beach. But if you go to Cuba and all those areas in the heart of the city, they would carve out an area, put some sand, and have a beach volleyball competition. We are in the process of establishing that almost immediately after budget at the VG Sports Complex. We've done very well in beach volleyball. We're in the process of lighting up an area in Pigeon Point so we can have more beach volleyball through solar lighting, and the investment will continue around the island. As I said at last press briefing, we have identified an area for esports to have a home. So you have those involved in the multi-billion-dollar industry of playing FIFA on the computer, on the television, actually having a home to have competitions and to train and develop programs. I've always encouraged all associations, developed programs where you use your sporting discipline to really change the mindset and develop young people into proper functioning individuals.
As you've already outlined, the Island Champs 2026 was obviously not perfect. And there would have been quite a few areas that needed, or that will need attention going forward. Having said that, I want to just sidetrack a little bit. there have been criticisms of, not criticisms, I think maybe praise for teams coming out to the south. There's the re-emergence, as it were, of the southern teams showing their head and performing at the very top levels. So much so to secure the boys' title. And of course, you've mentioned Biko. What do you think is the issue with regards, and not to pit one against the other, but what do you think is the issue with regards the Castries teams?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I sat yesterday and obviously as a Leon Hess boy, I thought back to the inter-secondary schools competitions that I would have participated in. Leon Hess finished top 3, Entrepot finished top 3, St. Mary's College Vieux Fort top 3, all 5 of those years. And right now we could barely see Entrepot breaking in the top 7 or 8. Same with Leon Hess, Castries Comprehensive, middle of the line. I think at the end of the day, what I said earlier, I think we'll reap some really good rewards. We are in the process of immediately doing all of the post-mortem examination of what actually happened at Island Champs this year, and we are actually going to set up a school sports commission that's with responsibility of looking at the dynamics of school sports in terms of how it has evolved over years and how it is that we can strategize on building those schools that seem to be left behind, like an Entrepot Secondary School who produced a Laverne Spencer, could barely bring in a medal at Island Champs in 2026. And so we can look at how it is that we can provide support to those schools, bring in the coaches, bring in the former athletes, bring in the individuals who attended the schools who now have a big marketing job at a company or is a big lawyer, a big doctor, and just see how they can bring in some resources to provide that level of support to those schools within that Castries Basin as well. While I'm at it with that, we had a situation in 2026 where we still saw individual athletes running barefooted. Again, as a minister, we've invested thousands of dollars in sports equipment for students. And the fact of the matter is, it is available. We have track shoes, and I remember when we were purchasing the track shoes, we have 8 lanes. We did an analysis for if a child comes in and she's a size 5, she can get a track shoe, a size 6, 7, 8, 9. We did it up to 13. And so we made those provisions so that athletes can actually, if they do come to Island Champs without a track shoe, they can use a track shoe and return it. In some instances, we've actually given those students track shoes. So if you have a proper alumni association, you do not wait until the ministry or minister or politician provides track shoes. You sit down, you analyze who's gone to Castries Comprehensive over the last 50 years. Who are the individuals that are resourceful that can provide us with some finances so that Castries Comprehensive can provide a track shoe for every single athlete participating in Island Champs or is part of a club right now. So the responsibility doesn't only have to be on a government or a minister. This is where we want to, the direction we want to go in sports. Same with football. You don't need somebody from SMC calling the ministry to get football boots for 4 or 5 players. You have individuals who played great football for St. Mary's College who is in the US or in England that may have one that they only used once. How do you connect with those people to provide that gear? We invested $1 million in sports equipment last year, and we're going to continue to invest in sports equipment, and we certainly hope that the training and the programs at the school allow for these athletes to feel comfortable running in track shoes, which obviously from time to time doesn't seem to be the case.
Following up a little bit, would it be unfair to suggest that the failings of the northern schools can rest on the shoulders of the administrators who are probably not bought into the program and maybe centered on academics, with sports being playtime or pastime?
That's a very, very good observation, because we've seen the shift even at the primary school level. I never saw lessons at the level that I'm seeing now at primary schools. I mean, I'm talking about probably even infant schools. We have lessons to focus on academia, as if to suggest that if you gravitate towards strengthening your body, that, or being involved in sport, that it will take you away from being a competent academic. So the mentality that has shifted probably need to do the analysis to get objective information, may have shifted more in the north than in the south, because the amount of time invested on fields and on the track and that sort of, it seemed to be more in the south, whereas in the north you have the dynamic of video games, more access to devices, cell phones, tablets, more access to television, and less playtime. So the analysis may have to be done on that. And of course, I will add the the mentality with some of our school principals that it's academia, academia, academia. Some of our teachers, academia, academia, and that's what school is for. I would couple all of that as a bouillon in terms of what we may have to look at in, coming to some decision or some form of conclusion on why the South seem to be doing better than the North.
Okay. Just diverting a little bit into education. I believe you said, I think it was earlier this year when you did a speech, especially when it comes with AI playing a huge part with education. And I know CXC now becoming more digital as the years go by. My question is, has there been any discussions or any talks of having AI or open AI integrated into school curriculums, especially like moving forward for anyone learning what to actually learn to use AI from the ground up, as it's becoming so dominant, not just in the Caribbean, but worldwide as well?
I will tell you something. About 2 weeks ago, a young man made a presentation to me showing how he could use AI to evaluate the various muscles in a child's face, the eye, they say communication, 60% of it is nonverbal, the nostril, the forehead, to evaluate whether or not a child understands a concept. And therefore, in that same system, come to conclusions on the best way of providing pedagogical instruction for that very same child using AI. That is what digital transformation is. And in that same presentation, this individual showed us how he could use every single sporting activity in the world to teach algebra, to teach basic math at a primary and infant school level and at a secondary school level as well. And so in terms of integrating AI, I don't think anybody believes that we can get away from it. It has to be integrated in a very responsible way. It's not supposed to be a device that is used to cause people to get lazy, but it is a fact. The amount of work that our grandfather and great-grandfather had to do in providing an assignment, just using a pen and paper, and it is just significantly different and faster right now. Whereas it's becoming faster, we need to ensure that we have policy that makes it be done in a responsible way. So we guard against things like plagiarism. We guard against things where, students can just, provide information that they received and pass it on to another individual, and the system can just, chug and plug and change. So it's a mixed approach. We have to be balanced, but we have to work with AI. We have to work with the changing nature of teaching, and of course, observing when students learn. One more?
All right, good afternoon. All right, so you had spoken on the performance of the St. Lucia Sports Academy. If I'm not mistaken, they had come second in the male division. What's your stance? Is that correct?
I think it's third.
Third, right. So what's your stance on the development of the St. Lucia Sports Academy, especially as it comes to their performance versus the other schools on the island?
Well, we did say in our, and you can go take a look at it, we did say in our manifesto that we are going to transition the St. Lucia Sports Academy to the Laverne Spencer School, not school, Laverne Spencer Center for Sporting Excellence. We did make that commitment to St. Lucia, and of course we're going to use a phased approach to get that. We are putting a committee together to look at the operations at the Sports Academy, and then we are going to use a phased approach to really design what that center would look like. If you look at the area, it's strategically located with Darren Sammy stadium being right there, and you would have the aquatic center completed soon. Then you would have the multi-purpose court in terms of the indoor facility. You would have tennis, so you'd have a one-stop shop. And if we can get that space for a 400-meter track and football field, what we would design is to ensure that the athletes that are exceeding, that are doing very well, in addition to that, a construction of a national gym, strength training gym, we would have a different sort of program for where we currently call the St. Lucia Sports Academy. We've been, in terms of the numbers, it's been dwindling at the Sports Academy. And I believe at the end of the day, we really need to take a deep dive into the operations. They have done well, but there is one school of thought that if you are going to bring the best athletes at a particular age group into one institution, they really should be winning it all. There is that school of thought. And if you listen to me in times past, in my vision in developing sports in schools, it was always about developing sports at every single institution through alumni associations and bringing people from the community in every corner rather than shifting a few students in one location. So I've been very clear about that my entire tenure as Minister of Sport, and we're certainly hoping that we're going to head in that direction very soon.
So will we see, when it becomes becomes named after Levin Spencer and we see a change in how it operates, does that mean that we'll see perhaps instead of it being a secondary institution, it'll be post-secondary, that will be open to more informal classes for students around the island?
It will not be, it's currently under the Ministry of Education. I do not see in the future, once we've transitioned, it continuing to function as a secondary school. We've moved in the direction of identifying 4 TVET institutions in this nation. We have some concerns on how it was instituted. As the Minister of Education, I will be working assiduously to make sure we get it right, because we need to get it right, and we have some tough decisions to make that I am prepared to make sure we get it right. And we are going to then use all those facilities. It's a huge facility to ensure that we have sporting development be the main item on the agenda in that area.
All right, thank you. Another question from the newsroom. Would you be able to provide an update into the long journey of integrating the Creole language into the curriculum?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I am a huge proponent of curriculum development, and I've had some meetings with CAMDU that have been very, very, how should I put it, a matter of fact. I believe that we've made great strides in things like, whether you want to call it African studies or heritage studies. I think very, very soon I want to present, by the time my daughters get to secondary school, a curriculum in the heritage, who they are, beyond 7 times British, 7 times French. That seems to be the only answer people seem to think about when you talk about our history, but who we are as a people. I think that is very, very important. And so that particular curriculum development would be very, very important. The curriculum for teaching Creole, from the presentation that was made to me, is complete. So we should be seeing a more comprehensive rollout from it. I think I would have been so further along in my Creole if I had it at Grosley Primary and Infant, but I had the Dr. Bahai, so muy bon. But I certainly want for the next generation to really embrace that curriculum and really enjoy using it, especially when you're foreign and you don't want anybody else to understand what you're saying. So I'm very excited about it. I will be given a further presentation later on, and I can provide some more information then.
All right, thank you. Is that it? All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.